Transfer deadline day is upon us. If we want to add any more players to our squad ahead of this season, now is the time. Looking over the squad tab on Buzzco's Core DNA mod, however, it does seem as if the squad is pretty much set. We like to keep a small squad, so we have just 22 players currently. The average age is about 26 years old, which is not too bad. Our overall is currently a 72. One thing that is a cause for concern, however, is we only have a plus 75 in terms of our overall squad potential. Sorting the squad by potential, we can see, of course, we have Johnny Rowe, who is our highest upside player by far. Tiano Ballo, a new signing, should have a decent future ahead of him as well. Josh Sargent has some room to grow. Liam Gibbs and Jose Cordoba, too, have plenty of room to get better, but beyond that, there's not too many players with real room for improvement. With only 9 million left in our budget, however, we can't really afford to invest in another young, high upside talent at this moment in time, especially since that 9 million needs to cover the hiring fees and salaries of another couple of scouts and coaches. So unless we receive a transfer offer for a player that we have to accept, I don't foresee a lot of movement at the deadline this summer. Instead, we're going to be hoping for growth from within the squad, and that's primarily going to come through the use of our 6 focused dev plans that we are able to assign. We did also unlock the practice makes perfect trait within the development strand of the core DNA skill tree, so we're able to set development plans beyond those 6 for any players under 21. So we currently have Johnny Rowe set to wide midfielder, Josh Sargent is on poacher, Adam Eder on mobile striker, Borja Sainz is on inverted wide midfielder, Tiano Ballo is set to dynamo, defensive centre-back for Jose Cordoba, central midfield for Liam Gibbs, box-to-box for Marcelino Nunez, ball-winning midfielder for Jacob Sorensen, since he is going to be filling in at left-back and centre-back from time to time this season, and then Jonathan Tompkinson is on ball-playing defender. There's nobody else that I'm looking to sell at the deadline here in the summer either, so if we do receive an offer, we may have to use that gentleman's agreement trait that we also unlocked. But it does look as though transfer deadline day is going to pass without incident for us. The same cannot be said for other teams around the leagues. The same certainly cannot be said for Paris Saint-Germain. They splurged, almost 300 million on Bernardo Silva, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Jack Grealish. This is, of course, one of the more frustrating things about FC24 because none of those transfers make sense, and there's just nothing we can do about it. Arsenal also let go of William Saliba. They did replace him to some extent with Joshua Kimmich. Berardi seems to be Man City's replacement for Jack Grealish. Paris Saint-Germain raised some of those funds through the sales of Hakimi and Mendes. And one of the more interesting signings from our perspective is Newcastle signing of Christian Medina. We had our eye on the 21-year-old centre midfielder, but we were priced out of a transfer for him. Newcastle, however, did manage to get a deal over the line. So the calendar does tick over into September, and that means a fresh slate of games to get to in today's episode. Our featured game today will be a trip down to Vicarage Road to take on Watford. You'll also see highlights of our home game at Carrow Road against Stoke City, and our trip to Bramall Lane to take on Sheffield United. And we'll be simulating games against Derby County and first here against Portsmouth at Fratton Park. Portsmouth have had an interesting start to the season, drawing 4 out of their 6 games. They find themselves in 14th place, 7 places below us in 7th. So we will certainly put our strongest 11 out there to try and secure the victory. Callum Chambers again starts at centre-back alongside Grant Hanley. Tiano Ballo, another new arrival, also maintains his place in the starting 11. But it is points shared yet again for Portsmouth. A 1-1 draw. Bishop opened the scoring in the 8th minute. Sargent equalised just 10 minutes later. But it was a cagey, uneventful game beyond that. And that brings us to our second game of the episode as we host Stoke City at Carrow Road. Johannes Thorup has switched back to the back 3 for this one. Grant Hanley, like a number of the other players struggling with fitness early in the season, comes out. He is replaced by Cordoba and Duffy to join Chambers in the back 3. Nunez and McLean the pairing in midfield, and the familiar front 3 of Sainz, Rowe and Josh Sargent will start. We were almost behind early in this one. Josh Sargent giving the ball away in a dangerous situation. Stoke taking a snapshot from the edge of the box. Thankfully, it was wide of Jason Steele's goal. But having weathered the early storm from Stoke, we would take the lead 25 minutes into the game. Marcelino Nunez driving forward from midfield and slipping a really tidy ball through to Borja Sainz. He made absolutely no mistake with the finish. And from there, we really did grow into the game. Our 3 centre-backs allowing us to keep possession against Stoke's single striker, but our 3 attackers occupying Stoke's backline, allowing the likes of Kieran McKenna to drive forward from midfield. And about 20 minutes from time, we would have a second goal. Josh Sargent picking the pocket of the Stoke defender, leaving him through on goal. Absolutely nobody facing him down but the goalkeeper. And he tucked the ball neatly into the far corner. Sargent had a chance to double his tally and put the game beyond all doubt when Marius Wolf picked him out in the penalty area. Took a nice touch on his chest, but shot just caught a bit too much at the outside of his foot rather than the laces, and it ended up skewing wide. So Stoke were forced to press for an equaliser as we went into the last 10-15 minutes or so of the game, and drew a decent enough save from Jason Steele at his near post, but one he always should be making. However, Steele wouldn't be able to keep out the following effort. About 10 minutes from time, fired across his goal. Probably should have done better with this one. It was a narrow angle and he was well positioned, so he'll be disappointed to have let this one past him. However, he more than made up for it just 2 minutes from time as Stoke had what would be their last opportunity of the game. Steele dove low and away to his left-hand side, got down really quickly to parry this one around the post. So 2-1 would be the final score, and it does extend our unbeaten run to 6 games. Johannes Thorup asked for patience after episode 1 and to some extent after episode 2, as you didn't get off to the best possible start in the championship, but the new system's really starting to click now. Players really starting to bed in and get familiar with each other. So heading into our featured game of the episode, we currently sit in 6th position in the championship. 4 wins, 3 draws, 1 loss from our 8 games, leaving us with 15 points, along with both QPR and Sheffield United above and below us. And there'll be another former Norwich man waiting for us at Vicarage Road. Jamal Lewis will start at left back for the Hornets as they line up in another fairly defensive 5-2-3 formation, and they've only managed to win 1 of their last 5 games. So Johannes Thorup has gone with his slightly more attacking 4-2-3-1 formation, looking to get on the ball early and really dictate the tempo of play. Grant Hanley, as usual, captains the side alongside Callum Chambers. McLean and Nunez will again be the midfield pair, but it's going to be Borja Sainz in the number 10 role today, so he's going to get a chance to show what he can do. Fastnacht therefore comes in on the right-hand side, Rowe on the left, Josh Sargent, of course, through the middle. So without further ado, let's head down to Vicarage Road and see if we can extend this good run of form that we have managed to establish even further. So we are up in the commentary box here at Vicarage Road. One of the few away grounds that I've been to. Actually, I haven't travelled to many stadiums around the UK and around the world, but Vicarage Road is one that I have been to. Selhurst Park amongst them as well. And it was actually a game against Ipswich Town that I saw. Watford against Ipswich in the FA Cup, maybe 5th round? Several years ago now. As Johnny Rowe gets on the ball and looks to dictate play early. Several people have asked me who I support, and it is something of an awkward and complicated story that does begin with me supporting Ipswich Town, which is why I was in attendance at Vicarage Road for that particular game. Kenny McLean over the bar. And a booking early for a Watford man, Wesley Hoyt, former Southampton defender. So I started out as an Ipswich fan, for those who might be curious. Born in Ipswich, grew up in and around Suffolk, and an Ipswich fan by birth, basically. Season ticket holder at Portman Road for several seasons as Kenny McLean delivers the corner and Callum Chambers hits the bar. What a start to his Norwich City career that would have been. Did really well to win the header and turn it towards goal. Goalkeeper didn't get anything on it, and it cracks against the bar. So I was an Ipswich fan until just before my university days, and at that point I really fell out of love with football. I went through that phase where you just think footballers get paid too much, and if you don't have money as a club, then you can never win. And I just kind of became a bit disillusioned with the game and went off it completely. So I didn't follow football at all for about 4 or 5 years. And then by the time I got back into football, as Marius Wolf delivers now towards Johnny Rowe, Marcelino Nunez can't quite take it down on the edge of the box. By the time I got back into football, I was at university for the second time doing my postgrad at UEA, so living in Norwich. And just falling back in love with the game again, whilst falling in love with the city of Norwich itself. Kind of means that I follow Norwich more so than Ipswich now. I haven't quite made the transition enough to actually call myself a Norwich fan. If people ask me who I support, I tend to say I don't really support anyone. I just follow football in general. As Fasnacht delivers, Borja Sainz at the back post, parried away by the goalkeeper. Kenny McLean takes it down, lays it off to Marcelino Nunez, who again can't get a shot away. So I tend to say I don't support any club. I support England, I don't support a club, but I follow Norwich most closely is the way that I would put it. And they are my hometown team now. Good save, Jason Steele. I have been to more Norwich games in recent years than Ipswich, of course. I haven't been to an Ipswich game since the days that I had a season ticket. And that is partly why we're doing a save with Norwich. They are the club that I know the most. And they are my hometown team now. And we've got off to a really good start in this game, to be fair. Multiple opportunities as Kenny McLean makes a break forward. Does he have the pace to get there? Not quite. He does manage to nick the ball from the Watford defender who beat him to it, though. And we want to try and make this pressure tell. Very, very good start to the game. We've made a habit so far this season of going behind in games. Against Luton Town, for example, in episode 1, as Harry Toffolo is now going to deliver. We're finding a lot of success down the flanks. We want to be the team to take the lead for one of the few times this season. I mean, like England in the Euros at the moment, we're doing a very good job of coming back in games and getting victories despite having gone a goal down. But we can't make too much of a habit of that. That's not a sustainable strategy. We do want to control games a little bit more, and that does involve taking the lead in them. I very much like Borja Sainz in the number 10 role. I think, although we've signed Tiano Ballo, we still haven't really settled on an option in that number 10. As Borja Sainz lets rip from range, forces the Watford goalkeeper backman into another very, very good save. And Borja Sainz has as much right to that number 10 role as anyone. We've started him out on the right-hand side mostly so far this season. As Kenny McLean delivers again, looking for Josh Sargent. Doesn't quite drop to him, it will drop to Johnny Rowe. And eventually Marius Wolf, who will also strike from range. And that's going to be a booking, so that's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box, I believe. Deli Bashiru with the booking. Marius Wolf unhappy with the challenge, and you can see why. It was late. So I think Kenny McLean is going to have a chance to open the scoring here. But Borja Sainz, yeah, very much in contention for that number 10 role. Ballo has been... I mean, he's got plenty of time to make a name for himself in a Norwich City shirt, but he certainly hasn't done that just yet. So we'll see if we can curl this into the top corner with Kenny McLean. I don't think we've put anywhere near enough on it. We haven't. It is easily blocked by the wall. Borja Sainz, though, with the rebound, opens the scoring. Celebrates in front of the Norwich City fans. That's his third goal of the season. Josh Sargent has 5 already. Remember, we are trying to score 15 goals in the Championship with Josh Sargent so that we can give him a new contract and potentially give him the captain's armband next year as well. That's one of our custom objectives this season. And I think in Borja Sainz, it's only been half an hour or so, But I think we might have found our new number 10. Johannes Thorup very much experimenting in that particular position. We've had Ashley Barnes play there. We've had Bio or Ballo. I can't decide what to call him. I'm going to have to look up how to actually pronounce his name. The double L, if he was, you know, Spanish or a Spanish-speaking country, you would say Bio, but he's Austrian. So I'm thinking Ballo. But we'll have to find out officially one way or the other, as Watford look to get right back in the game. Steele makes the save initially. We can't clear, still can't clear. And thankfully, the shot from Livermore is straight at Jason Steele. It was a really good point-blank save initially. But confusion, chaos in the penalty area as the ball fell to Watford on more than one occasion there. And that was their first real opportunity of the game. Came immediately after the opening goal, as Fasnacht does some really good defensive work to win that back. And to find Johnny Rowe out on this left-hand side. Harry Toffolo in support. And Josh Sargent through the middle as well. Just has to hold it up. And Marcelino Nunez just maintains possession through Marius Wolf. Josh Sargent on the edge of the box. Nunez can't find him. So I think we do need to find balance with that front three. Johnny Rowe is obviously going to be our player on the left. And if Borja Sainz is going to be playing in that number 10 role, that does bring into question where Ballo is going to fit in. That's a really poor pass. Right into the feet of Josh Sargent, and Christian Fasnacht is away on the right-hand side now. Borja Sainz, I think it wouldn't be such a bad thing for him to play more centrally as well, because he is decent enough in the air. Really good strength from Sargent to bring that down. But I think the referee has deemed that he did so illegally. I think Bio could play out on the right-hand side. I think he's quick enough, agile enough, good enough with the ball at his feet that he can play in one of those wide roles and allow Borja Sainz to play through the middle. We're going to try and hit Johnny Rowe at the back post here. And it's a decent enough cross from Marius Wolf, but Johnny Rowe, of course, not particularly good in the air. So he's always going to be plan B in terms of a target in the area from crosses. But Josh Sargent was well marked by not just one but two Watford defenders. Really good work, Borja Sainz. Into the path of Marcelino Nunez. Oh, and that's poor, that's poor. We had Johnny Rowe on the outside. I just wanted to slot it back in on the little reverse pass back to Borja Sainz. Didn't quite come off. As Grant Hanley gets dragged out wide with the run of Rahovic. We saw Emmanuel Dennis warming up, but I'm fairly sure he's not playing today. I don't remember seeing him in the pre-match report. But potentially he is one of those wide players. I know Ince is on one side of Rahovic up front, as Harry Toffolo is in acres of space, as is Johnny Rowe up ahead of him. Just relays the ball back to Kenny McLean, however. And we will work it across the back line to Marius Wolf. Marcelino Nunez just finds Kenny McLean in a bit of space again. We want to try and hit Christian Fasnacht and get Marius Wolf on a little overlapping run. It's actually ended up working the other way with a little inverted run from Marius Wolf. And again we look for Johnny Rowe at the back post. This time we find him, and Johnny Rowe doubles the lead. Bit of an unorthodox approach. The reason we've set up with those wide forwards so narrow is so we can play the ball into their feet and have those fullbacks on the overlapping runs, but it actually worked out the other way. Christian Fasnacht stayed wide. Marius Wolf ran inside him. And it doesn't matter how you get to the byline, if you can get there and pull the ball back across the face of goal, which is exactly what Marius Wolf has done. And I believe that is Johnny Rowe's third goal of the season as well. So Rowe and Sainz each on 3, I believe. Josh Sargent on 5. So we have 11 goals between our front 3 at this early stage of the season. Just what, this would be our 7th game of the championship season, I believe. Really, really good start. That's poor. That's really poor, Toffolo. He's got to recover. He just about does. Recovers enough to force the ball back. Watford work it into a crossing position though, but Livermore just lays it into Deli Bashiru, who is of course on a booking. We're doing a decent enough job to hold Watford at bay here. But sooner or later, if we don't get rid of this ball, they are going to find a clear shot at goal. Thankfully, we do manage to clear it away in the nick of time. And Kenny McLean can take control of possession once more. We've had a very good return so far this season from our forward players. We could use a bit more of a contribution from elsewhere. Not a lot of midfield players breaking their duck just yet. No defenders have scored for us yet this season. And we will need those other players to pitch in. If we are going to be winning games this season, we can't rely only on those forward players. Of course, we'll be relying primarily on the likes of Sargent and Rowe. But we can't rely exclusively on them. Good defending Kenny McLean and really good strength from Marius Wolf. Can he lay it into the path of Christian Fastnacht? Instead, he just carries on his run. Again, whips it into the box. Headed clear by Watford this time. And the referee's half-time whistle goes with a scoreline of 2-0 and a not undeserved scoreline, you would have to say. Kenny McLean very much pulling the strings. Really good first half performance. We did exactly what we had intended to do, which was get on the ball, was play football, was dictate the tempo. And if we can continue that into the second half, I see no reason why we can't grab another goal or two. Thank you for checking out this episode of our realistic Norwich City career mode. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more content like this in the future, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're approaching the end of the FC24 cycle now, but there'll be plenty more content to come with the release of FC25, including 12th man memberships. If you want to get more involved with the channel, check out the membership tiers on my homepage. Memberships start at less than £2 per month and come with a whole host of benefits and rewards, including you being able to feature in my career mode saves. We'll be starting a road to glory with a created club as soon as FC25 drops. So if you want to be included in the save or even feature in our starting 11, become a 12th man member of the channel today. 12th man members also get exclusive early access to all of my videos, not only my career mode series, but also my realistic slider sets and everything else in between. If you want more information about exactly what each tier involves, be sure to check out this video on my homepage. If memberships aren't for you, you can also join the public area of my Discord server, or just keep watching and enjoying the content for free right here on YouTube. As always, I appreciate all of your encouragement and support. Now, let's get back to the video. So back out for the second half. And we're going to look to pick up where we left off really in the first. We were pretty dominant, certainly in the first 15-20 minutes or so of that first half. And we did manage to grab a couple of goals after that. Watford, very few opportunities in the game so far. And the opportunities that they have had have not been really clear-cut outside of the kind of chaos, the chaotic couple of seconds in the penalty area where Jason Steele was forced into a couple of important reaction saves. He's been a good addition, to be fair. I thought we would receive offers for Angus Gunn. I thought we would likely use gentleman's agreement on him and we would hold on to him to the end of the season. And if we were to go up, then we would probably hold on to Angus Gunn as Watford try and get a goal back early here in the second half. Callum Chambers does a good job, as does Kenny McLean, and Johnny Rowe can come away. And if Josh Sargent can make the right run through the middle here, we could be on for a third goal. Can't quite carry it past the last Watford defender. I thought we would use gentleman's agreement on Angus Gunn and either hold on to him if we manage to go up to the Premier League, or let him go if we don't manage to get promoted this season. But I think with the fact that Celtic are a Scottish club, they're already in the Champions League, you know, they're playing Champions League football this season. I think if you were to go to any Championship player, you know, any player on a Championship team and say, do you want to stay where you are, or do you want to A, play Champions League football, and B, have a chance to win a trophy this year, because you know Celtic are going to be the favourites for the Scottish Premier League title. And by the way, the club that you can go to is in your home country. I know Angus Gunn could have played for England. He chose to declare for Scotland. I'm not sure if Scotland is his home country exactly. I'm not sure exactly where he was born, where he grew up, those kinds of things. But of course, his father Brian Gunn was Scottish. And I believe Angus Gunn did grow up a Norwich City fan, but even so, Champions League football, the allure of a potential trophy-winning season, I think is too much to turn down for any player. And I think we did the right thing by him by letting him go. But is he saying Christian Fastnacht is offside? I think the linesman is flagging. I'm not sure what for. I think he must have been saying there was a foul in there against us, or, you know, in our favour. We would have had the free kick, is what it seems. Marius Wolf with the overlapping run. That's exactly what we're looking for. Josh Sargent in the box is exactly who we're looking for. What a save. What a save again. How's Bachmann kept that out? Fantastic save initially from Josh Sargent. And then Kenny McLean on the follow-up had the goal at his mercy. Somehow Bachmann was back up and made a second save. Unbelievable. But Watford going to make a couple of changes. We're going to make a couple of changes as well. We are going to bring Tiano Ballo on for Christian Fastnacht on that right-hand side. So our forward three behind Josh Sargent are currently Johnny Rowe on the left, Borja Sainz in the number 10. And then Tiano Ballo on the right-hand side. So we'll see how that plays. We have brought Liam Gibbs on in place of Marcelino Nunez as well. Josh Sargent in the box but can't quite win the header. Liam Gibbs on 2 attempts also can't win it, and Ballo has been completely obliterated there and wins a free kick. Very intrigued to see Ballo on the right-hand side. I think we certainly could change his position if we needed to. That's a really good ball in from Wolf. What a ball in that is. Josh Sargent makes it 3. What a ball in from Marius Wolf. Josh Sargent finally wins the header. And we are walking to victory here at Vicarage Road. That is just a pinpoint free kick. What a delivery from Marius Wolf. Put it on a plate, and Sargent absolutely manhandles the Watford defender. Nothing Bachmann can do about it. And the 3 players we mentioned as the 3 we're going to have to rely on this season primarily for goals, Johnny Rowe, Borja Sainz, Josh Sargent, are each on the score sheet today. Maybe we can rely exclusively on those 3. I said earlier in the first half we're going to rely primarily on them. We can't rely exclusively on them. I might be taking that back. Josh Sargent holds it up. He also gets absolutely clattered. No free kick this time, though, as Watford look to try and get back in the game. A goal fairly soon would certainly put them back in it, and it's a really good save from Jason Steele to prevent that from happening, as Livermore prepares to deliver the corner. If we can last another 10-15 minutes or so with a 3-goal lead, there's no way Watford can get back into it. But if they score like now, they have a chance. It would be a fairly distant possibility, but they would still be in the game at 3-1 with 25 minutes left. 2 goals have been scored in far fewer than 25 minutes. What a save again. Josh Sargent, for some reason, went with the left instead of his right foot. Looked as though he could have just let rip with his right and tucked it into the far corner. Instead, he went with the left. Ballo at the back post. What a save again, Bachmann. Fantastic strike from Ballo. That was such a high level of difficulty on the shot. He caught that on the volley with the instep. And it was a really good effort as Josh Sargent is through. Is he onside? It doesn't matter because Bachmann has made another unbelievable save. And another. Bachmann is single-handedly, well, double-handedly, because he's making saves with the left and with the right. But he is keeping Watford in this game at the moment. Off his thumb this time. That was, what, 4 saves in quick succession there? As Kenny McLean delivers in search of Callum Chambers, is going to go out for another Norwich corner. And we'll deliver this one in a little lower, a little flatter. Borja Sainz turns it towards goal. Again, chaos. This time in the Watford box and hooked clear by Bachmann. Good challenge, Kenny McLean. But again, we're going to have to be wary and vigilant and ensure that we don't concede and make things a little more tense in these last 15, 20 minutes or so than they need to be. And we've done a good job of doing exactly that. And Watford gift us possession. Josh Sargent in a bit of space, but we couldn't really find him there. And I think it's going to be a free kick, and that's going to give us an opportunity to make another change or two here with about 20 minutes to go. So just the one change this time for Johannes Thorup. It's going to be Johnny Rowe to leave the field. Another good performance from him. And Adam Eder on to replace him. So Ballo will switch over to that left-hand side now. Josh Sargent on the right. And Adam Eder will play up front. Borja Sainz just behind him. That is one good thing about the 3 that we have behind the striker. The likes of Johnny Rowe, Borja Sainz, Tiano Ballo. There is a lot of flexibility and versatility there. They can each play across those 3 forward positions. So we really can chop and change, mix and match, depending on the opponent, depending on who we have available. Christian Fasnacht, a little bit less versatile. But with players with that level of flexibility, we can, work around the likes of a Christian Fasnacht. That's actually a really good ball. I thought there was too much on that and it was going to go out for a throw. It was actually pinpoint from the Watford defender. Oh, and Liam Gibbs doesn't quite manage to steal it away. It looked for a moment there as if he was about to, and there would have been green grass between him and the last Watford defender. But that's a good challenge. Josh Sargent could be away on the right-hand side here. Does he have the pace to get in behind Wesley Hoyt? Yes, he does. And it's a poor run, really, from Adam Eder. He needed to make that run away from Josh Sargent. Instead, he just brought the Watford defender over. And left Sargent really no choice but to just have a pot shot at goal. To be fair, Bachmann did parry it almost straight into the path of Adam Eder. Oh, that's a good effort by Liam Gibbs. A nice little lofted pass for that run in behind from Adam Eder. We have Eder on mobile striker at the moment in terms of a development plan. And physically, he is so imposing. Watching him in real life, he's absolutely huge. And he is so built. And he's unbelievably athletic. Like, so quick, so strong for a man his size. And if he can refine the technical aspect of his game and the mental aspect of his game, really, if he can become a more technically well-rounded and, importantly, more intelligent striker, he could be such a weapon. But right now, at the moment, he's just an athlete, really. He's more of an athlete than a football player. But in game, if we can, I'm looking to develop that technical side of his game. And hopefully make him a Norwich City striker for years to come. Whether it pans out that way in real life, I'm not sure. It does look at the moment as though it's actually going to be Adam Eder on his way up to Celtic rather than Angus Gunn. But I believe Norwich have turned down an offer. So we'll see if that does pan out or not. Really good play, Borja Sainz. Wins the free kick, and it's going to be at least a booking here. I think probably just a booking. I'll be surprised if he gets sent off, and he does get sent off. Ryan Porteous is off 5 minutes from time, and Watford's day just goes from bad to worse. Let's have another look at that one. I mean, he can't have too many complaints about that. It's an awful challenge. As Emmanuel Dennis does come off, Jeremy and Ngakia to come on. I think we'll make our final changes of the game here as well. So 2 final changes for Johannes Thorup and Norwich City. Marius Wolf to make way for Jack Stacey, and one of our goal scorers, Borja Sainz, after that robust challenge, makes way to be replaced by Jacob Sorensen. And one of the things I was about to say about Borja Sainz just before he left the field there is that playing him in the number 10 role does negate his lack of pace somewhat. I mean, he's not exactly slow. He's got fine acceleration and sprint speed attributes, but they're not overwhelming by any means. And you would ideally have somebody a little bit pacier in that wide role. And so playing him in the number 10, it does just kind of paper over that slight crack in his game somewhat. So that could be an advantage to playing him in the number 10 rather than in one of those wide roles as well. So we'll continue to experiment over the course of the season. We'll give everybody their fair shot. Borja Sainz, I would say, seems to be the front runner at the moment, as Ballo steals in at the back post this time. Another excellent save by Bachmann, but we saw Johnny Rose score an almost carbon copy goal earlier on. And we do seem to be able to get in down that right-hand side and whip the ball across the face of goal to the back post for whoever is lurking back there. And we've taken all of our decent free kick takers off, our right-footed ones anyway. I was going to try and curl that into the top corner from here, but instead we'll just put in a cross towards Adamida at the back post, hooked away. Sorensen keeps it in, lofts it back into the box, headed clear by Watford. Harry Toffolo brings it down. There's Ballo, can't quite get his shot away. Adamida holds it up, hits it on the turn. A bit too much for Bachmann to handle, but he does parry clear. Another save to add to his tally for today. Really well worked by Josh Sargent, and Toffolo lifts it towards the box once more, but it is blocked. And then Kenny McLean couldn't quite find Liam Gibbs. But the game is all but over now. We have managed to hold Watford at bay for those 15-20 minutes or so that we needed. And it is going to be a 3-0 victory any moment. 5 minutes of added time, which have almost elapsed. We can clear this corner away. It is going to be a clean sheet. And we have failed to keep a clean sheet numerous times this season. We've won games, but we've given away goals. That was the story against Stoke in the last game. But we have managed to go on and see the game out without conceding this time. So we're doing good things up front, and it's coming together at the back as well. Things really starting to click here in this new system under Johannes Thorup. And we've established ourselves as a playoff team early in the season here. Hopefully we can kick on and become even more than that. So that surely has to be our best, most well-rounded, most comprehensive start-to-finish performance of the season so far. We were so good in possession. We created numerous chances. And if it wasn't for Bachmann in the Watford goal, that could have been 4 or 5 easily today. And it wasn't just Norwich City fans watching that game from the stands at Vicarage Road. There were also a couple of young, talented Danish football players that Johannes Thorup had made his guests for the weekend. One of whom was Olafur Lawson, a left-sided midfielder who was impressed enough by what he saw to be interested in signing on for the club. He has a potential between 70 and 90, which gives him an 80 on average. And thanks to us unlocking the best-in-class trait, that means we have a 100% chance of signing any prospect with a potential up to 80. So we are guaranteed to be able to sign Olafur Lawson. So it's taken a little longer than I would have liked, but we do finally have a player in our youth academy, and he looks like he was worth the wait. 16 years old, 63 overall with that 70 to 90 potential. 3-star skill moves and weak foot, just medium work rates, but 4 to 5 play styles, and already a 74 dribbling at just 16 years old. Valued only at 350,000. Damian Christensen probably isn't going to be anywhere close to a 63 overall like Lawson, but his potential is also an 80, and we are allowed up to 14 players in the youth academy, so we may as well sign him as well and take a look at how good he could be. Christensen is just a 54 overall, but he can play left back or right back. Currently 0 to 3 play styles, but high defensive work rate already, and 65 pace, 63 physical is not so bad for a 16-year-old. We do have 2 English youngsters that we're keeping an eye on as well. Ronnie Middleton, a 75 to 94 potential. Bobby Marsh, very similar, 71 to 94. They probably aren't going to have very high overalls, valued at just 190 and 240,000. And their potentials are slightly high for us to be able to sign at the moment. So we'll keep an eye on them and scout them a little further. We do also need to be a little bit careful because we can only sign 3 prospects per scouting trip. So we have already used 2 of those to sign those 2 Danish youngsters. We can, however, promote 6 players to the first team each season. So when it comes to it, we've got plenty of flexibility in terms of who we can promote to the first team. But that leaves us with just 2 more games to get to in today's episode as we host Derby County at Carrow Road, and we will finish things out today by travelling up to Bramall Lane to take on Sheffield United. A couple of changes as Derby County come to town. Shane Duffy comes into the back 4, as does Jack Stacey. Liam Gibbs also starts ahead of Marcelino Nunez. Christian Fasnacht holds on to his place on the right. However, Borja Sainz again starts in the number 10 role. And it is yet another victory, yet another goal for Johnny Rowe. He scored in the 70th minute before Adams pulled one back for Derby County. But Fasnacht got the party started just 12 minutes into the game. So if we can avoid defeat against Sheffield United, it will be an unbeaten episode. If we can come away with all 3 points, it will be a near perfect episode. The only points we will have dropped would have been the draw against Portsmouth. It certainly won't be an easy game though. Sheffield United will make it very, very tough for us. They're going to line up in a 5-3-2 holding formation. The back 5 centered by Arnel Ahmed-Hodzic, who of course made a name for himself at Everton in our Everton rebuild series. Vinny Souza, Hamer, Norwood, the midfield 3, Bogle and Osborne outside them should cause issues down the flanks. And Ryan Brewster and Ben Brereton Diaz are a pretty formidable pair in the championship at the very least. Johannes Thorup has faith in his squad though. He's not going to try and match Sheffield United, but instead again goes with the 4-2-3-1. Marius Wolf, Callum Chambers, Grant Hanley and Harry Toffolo the back 4 again for today. Nunez, McLean and then Ballo in the number 10 role. Fasnacht again keeps his place on the right. Johnny Rowe and Josh Sargent accompany him. We were under the cosh immediately in this one. Sheffield United tearing our midfield line to shreds, and Ben Brereton Diaz getting a good shot away from the edge of the box. Jason Steele again though, as he has done since arriving, making another very, very good save. And Ballo was of course starting in the number 10 for us today. Like Borja Sainz, he showed some promise. His shot however was a little bit rushed and he pulled it wide, and this was a tight, cagey affair. Sheffield United made it really difficult for us. We had to fight for every inch. We had to take a few yellow cards as well. This one from when Grant Hanley brought down Ben Brereton Diaz on a quick breakaway. It could have saved a goal. Jason Steele's save shortly after certainly did save a goal. Sheffield United again just tearing our midfield line to shreds. They had a number of opportunities thanks to those really good through balls, but Jason Steele came out, made himself big. And he knew very little about this one, Jason Steele, but he managed to throw a hand up, punched the ball up into the air on the rebound, and it eventually ended up falling on top of the crossbar and over for a Sheffield United corner. Sheffield United almost scored from the corner. Vinny Souza getting his head to the ball, but thankfully putting it over. It was another free header in the area, though. We have seen our weakness this season is going to be from set pieces, and it's going to be especially the case if we allow free headers like that. But as the game drew to a close, we managed to do something that Norwich sides of late haven't been able to do. We played a little bit dirty, a little bit of gamesmanship We were leaving late tackles on the Sheffield United players, and that was enough to disrupt the tempo of the game, to disrupt their rhythm, and probably to get in their heads a little bit and see the game out to a 0-0 draw. We did have our opportunities in the game, but ultimately Sheffield United were the better side, and we did well to come away with a point, and that could prove to be an all-important point, as it does give us an unbeaten month and extend our unbeaten streak to 9 games now. Sheffield United on the periphery of the playoff picture looking in, and they are likely to be promotion hopefuls this season, so that point could prove to be a really valuable one come the end of the season. Leeds United at this stage look to be running away with it. Middlesbrough, like Leeds, are also unbeaten at this point in the season, but Leeds have won 9 of their games, Middlesbrough only 5. We've won 6, drawn 4, and lost just the 1 so far, so we sit on 22 points in a comfortable 3rd position. 3 other teams, though, currently sit on 22 points, so as usual, it looks like it's going to be a very, very tight affair at the top of the championship. So a couple of big games to get to in the next episode. Blackburn at home, followed by Leeds and Burnley. Leeds, Burnley, like Sheffield United, each teams that should be in amongst the fight for at least playoff places, but more likely automatic promotion next season. So really important that we get results against them, and we will round out next episode with an away trip to Deepdale to take on Preston. So it is early in the season, but already these games feel really, really important, and there could be a couple of 6-pointers coming up in the next one. So we'll look forward to that in the next episode. I hope to see you there. Take it easy.